Toyota has been a huge electric car denier over the last several years, but now it may be losing its crown to another big automaker that says switching to making electric cars is too hard and unfair. Forbes contributor Tom Moloughney will be here to wipe those crocodile tears, and in other electric car news, Tesla is bringing 2 new products to market within a few weeks, but also is upgrading the Cybertruck with some big new features. Nissan unveils several prototypes, but not all of them are for this planet. Mercedes builds an oxymoron prototype. Polestar unveils a new model, plus other electric car news coming up next. Welcome to E4 Electric. Don't forget to click on that subscribe button and the bell notification icon so you don't miss anything moving forward. Normally, when we talk about the automakers that just hate the thought of switching to electric cars, we're talking about Toyota, the king of anti-EV rhetoric. But now that Toyota has actually brought its all-electric SUV and its sister company Subaru's electric SUV to the LA Auto Show and is set to bring both to market next year, while recently teasing its Lexus version RZ due out in 2023, well, we may have to dethrone it in favor of the next one in line. And the next one in line to the throne is Stellantis. Its CEO Carlos Tavares, in his interview with Reuters just this week, complained about the pressure to accelerate the shift to electric vehicles that comes from governments. Now, a lot of you are probably wondering, what the hell is Stellantis? And I know it does sound like a name of a prescription prostate medication, but it's actually a huge automaker that makes, well, outdated, subpar quality automobiles, out of which pretty much none are electric. But it's not its fault, because you see, Stellantis was formed out of 2 smaller brands, the Fiat Chrysler and the PSA Group, that used to make outdated subpar quality automobiles, out of which pretty much none are electric. And you know what? It's not their fault either, because they too were formed out of even smaller brands that made, well, you get the idea. And of course, they have the CEO who is also, as you probably guessed, subpar and outdated, and he thought that it would be a great idea to say this while knowingly being recorded by Reuters.
What has been decided is to impose on the automotive industry electrification that brings 50% additional cost against a conventional vehicle. So we have to digest 50% of additional cost. There is no way we can transfer 50% of additional cost to the final consumer, because most part of the middle classes will not be able to pay for those new car sales.
He has also added, and I quote, wah. Now, he's not wrong. It absolutely is an added cost to start developing and selling electric cars, but that's the cost of doing business. You gotta change with times. If you run an ice cream shop, you gotta upgrade to gluten-free, sugar-free, nut-free, and any other poison-free flavors, much like the cars, Carlos. And it's not like there aren't other brands that have started this conversion successfully, and many have used their higher-priced sub-brands or models to electrify first so they can recover some of the costs. And Stellantis does have luxury brands like Alfa Romeo and Maserati to do just that. So he runs the company much like how he conducts his Zoom calls. He knows he needs to come up with answers, he just doesn't know where to look. Another brand that at first appeared to be one of the EV leaders and the only one in the United States that sold enough EVs besides Tesla to actually run out of EV federal tax credits is currently delivering no electric cars at all, and I'm talking, of course, about GM. Its CEO, Mary Barra, was specifically asked about the recent White House EV summit, which not only Tesla wasn't invited to, but wasn't even mentioned at as the EV leader. Want to make a wild guess on what her answer was? While you're doing that, a quick reminder that this video is brought to you by Flow. Who said home chargers can't be sexy? With its elegant design, the Flow Home X5 features beautiful curves, sturdy 100% aluminum casing, and plenty of cord length. Give your garage some sex appeal by using our exclusive $150 discount in the description of this video. And by NeoCharge, guess what? The 220 outlet that powers your dryer can now be split to also power your electric vehicle with the help of the smart splitter from NeoCharge, which will automatically switch back to your dryer while you're doing laundry. Get one using our exclusive discount in the description of this video. So, during the DealBook online summit by New York Times, the anchor Andrew Sorkin pressed GM CEO on why Tesla wasn't invited to the so-called EV summit at the White House. Mind you, the correct answer is because Tesla does not have a union, but here's what Mary's answer was.
Tesla has not been invited to those meetings. Do you know why that is?
I have no idea. I'm not in charge of the guest list.
But do you sit there and say this is a little strange, given the role that they played?
You know, Andrew, I don't.
You don't?
I mean,
You really don't?
I don't give that a lot of thought. There's a lot of things I think about as it relates to competitors, but as I look at who's building the middle class, who has great opportunities, you know, for a very talented workforce, that's not something I give a lot of thought to.
Okay.
Now, kudos to Andrew for actually asking the question and then pressing it once he's got a BS answer, but I also partially agree with Mary that this question should be directed at the Biden's administration. Plus, praising or dissing your competitor is probably not a great strategy anyway. As we found out this week, the CEO of Volkswagen Group, Herbert Diess, who has openly acknowledged and praised Tesla and his BFF Elon Musk, is now at risk of losing his job over that. For more on the race to the anti-EV throne, we turn to the Forbes contributor and the host of the State of Charge YouTube channel, Tom Moloughney. All right, Tom, so normally when we have these conversations, we are talking about Toyota or even Honda, but today I have a feeling we have a new sheriff in town. Would you say that Stellantis may just take the crown of the EV deniers for now?
I'm not going to give them the crown. I think it's more of a case of them actually really beginning to realize how difficult this is going to be.
Okay, but I mean, don't you think if anything, it is easier for them because they have all these little brands that they kind of can, you know, plant the seeds and try electric car here, electric car there, and they've done really nothing with most of them. Aren't they have the least amount of excuses, really?
Well, they're definitely behind the ball the most. I'll agree to that. Excuses, I'm still putting it all, the biggest deniers on Toyota, Alex. I have to depart ways with you on this one. I think that, you know, Toyota really has been in a position for a long time to accelerate electrification. I think Stellantis is coming into it now. Maybe they just didn't realize that it was going to come so quickly and realize that thought they could kick the can down the road a little bit longer. But now they're seeing what's going on in the industry and saying, you know what? We're behind the 8 ball. We need to catch up, and this isn't going to be easy. It's going to cost a lot of money. We're going to have to retool everything, and now they're looking at the whole thing in totality and saying, geez, like, this is really going to be challenging.
Now, the reason I'm actually giving a little bit of a wiggle room for Toyota is because they did show up essentially with 2 electric cars to the LA Auto Show, if you count Subaru. So it looks like at least they're moving in the right direction where, you know, I don't see much from Stellantis. Do you think that Toyota may just start, you know, kind of making their way out of the doghouse?
Well, I think they're going to start making electric cars. They have to. But they're doing it kicking and screaming still. So, you know, let's see. You know, we all, I think, have agreed for a long time that Toyota would be capable of making a world-class electric vehicle. I think most people believe that, and they have been for a long time. It's a different case with Stellantis. You know, I mean, here in the U.S., at least, Jeep, Dodge, Jeep brands, you know, those vehicles were vehicles that would have been harder to transition to electric because they're big vehicles with big V8s, most of them. They weren't the typical vehicles that would be electrified, although now we're starting to get into the big, you know, SUVs and pickup trucks. So you would think by now they'd be a little bit closer to putting something out, but we don't know what they're holding behind the curtain. They could be right behind, say, GM when GM releases the Silverado. Dodge could have their electric pickup truck. We know they're working on it. We just don't know how far along they are. I think this whole revelation this week and the comments that were made were basically kind of warning everybody that, look, this is going to be difficult. This is going to cost a lot of time, a lot of money. It's going to cost jobs because we're going to have to shift. We're going to have to rebrand. Electrification is going to be hard, Alex. The entrenched OEMs, the legacy brands, are really just realizing how it's going to disrupt their entire business. And it's scaring some of them. And I think that's really what we're seeing with Stellantis.
Now, I know Tom's video looks like it was shot with the VHS camera in 1988. And honestly, I've seen some ransom demand videos with better quality. But to his credit, he is in the middle of his vacation in a country where there is really no internet. And yet, he still did this for us. So kudos to Tom. And he is the hardest working journalist in the EV space, and for that, I suggest you subscribe to his YouTube channel that I linked to in the description of this video. Before we get to the next story, let's check out the grumpy comment of the week, and this one comes from Marc-Andre Ravioli, who said, "We all want to see the dance move tank turn done by you, Alex." And he adds, "No grumpy comments here." First, Marc-Andre, as soon as I saw no grumpy comments here, I just knew that this had to be the grumpy comment I was looking for. And I know it's not very grumpy, but it is challenging me to a dance-off. And just in case if some of you are not aware, Marc-Andre is referring to Rivian's highly publicized feature, the tank turn, that you are seeing on the screen right now. And luckily for you, I have just finished creating my own artistic interpretation of it in my dance class. Ready? Here we go. I think I just tore something right here. But let's move on to the next story. And great news, Tesla fans. Both the Cybertruck and the Cyberquad deliveries are starting in the next month, with an exception of tiny little caveat. The Cybertruck is going in production as a cyber whistle. This will help you pass the time while waiting for the real Cybertruck and give Tesla the best profit margin on any product they have probably released so far, with a price tag of $50. Now, the Cyberquad is something that you can actually ride if you're a child, or often act like one, which I'm sure a lot of my viewers' wives and girlfriends would agree is a substantial part of my audience. It has 15 miles of range, which in all fairness, 15 miles more than the Cyber Whistle, and it costs $1,900, which I guess only Elon Musk kids could afford. By the way, both the Cyber Whistle and the Cyberquad are sold out on Tesla's website, but not to worry, you can easily find almost the entire inventory on eBay for triple of the price next to Tesla Kila and the Not a Flamethrower. But the actual Cybertruck got some really exciting news as well. As you probably remember, all the specs and options were removed from its website a while back, but now Elon Musk has announced that the first version of the Cybertruck will have the quad motor with rear-wheel steering and a crab mode. Wow, a quad motor, a rear-wheel steering, and a crab mode? I love when Tesla innovates. Let's move on to Nissan, which decided that it is much easier to compete with Tesla, where Teslas are not available for sale at all, which at this point is the moon. That's right, Nissan has unveiled an electric lunar rover featuring some of the technology from the upcoming 2023 Nissan Ariya, which deliveries are much like the moon far away. Wow, Nissan has managed to design something even uglier than the original Leaf? Kudos. But Nissan was also busy crafting a plan for us, the common folk here on Earth, with their Ambition 2030 plan, committing $17 billion over the next 5 years to its electric vehicle development. Nissan is planning to introduce 15 new EVs by 2030, but for now, the company has unveiled 4 concepts: the Chill Out, a crossover; the Max Out, a convertible sports car; the Surf Out, Scout, an adventure truck, and the Hangout e-mobile living room. But 2030 is a long while from now, Nissan, so I hope the time doesn't run out. Polestar has publicly revealed its Polestar 5 sports sedan that will come equipped with a LiDAR and will go in production in 2024. The company has also provided the first glimpse of the upcoming Polestar 3 SUV, first Polestar vehicle that will be built here in the United States. That one is due out in 2023. Mercedes-Benz has unveiled the Project Maybach, an electric off-road coupe concept designed as a part of a partnership with the late fashion designer Virgil Abloh. This is to remind you that no matter how much money you're going to pay for your Rivian, the Cybertruck, or the Hummer EV, there will always be someone spending more money than you on things that don't even make sense. What does make sense is hanging out with me and other channel subscribers every week. This time we're doing it on Tuesday at 1 p.m. You can set a reminder right there on my homepage. All right, looking forward to all of your comments. Other than that, see you guys next time, and remember to stay charged.